the people down and unalive them. Basically.
Okay. Okay.
You are vicious.
If by people she means the flesh, then yes.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
I in your life, man.
Okay, geez, yeah. Does that make sense though, Jennifer? I understand what you're saying about like taking counsel for the odds and like things that we face in this world, battles that we face in this world, and that still would help you. That's still true. But we're talking about like the battle that's already won. That's what we were talking about. We weren't talking about the
What are y'all talking about?
Instead of
multiple accounts.
So what we're saying is like we're already on the other side of the brook. We don't have to sit on this side of the brook and think what we're gonna do with this Goliath. We're already on the other side of the brook. Goliath is already down.
Okay, so what are y'all talking about? Winning a battle or something? Winning a war? What are y'all talking about?
We're talking about Proverbs 24:6. It says, "For by wise counsel thou shalt make war, and in multitude of counselors there is safety."
All right, hold on a second.
Well, sorry.
All right, go, what's the address again?
It's
Proverbs 24:6.
Proverbs 24:7. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, what is Proverbs 24:7? I'm just.
It says, "Wisdom is too high for a fool. He openeth not his mouth in the gate."
Oh yeah, in the gate. That's right. What does that mean? Hey, what does 24:7 mean? He opens not his mouth at the gate. What does that mean?
well, because the mouth is dead in front of Jesus.
Okay, but what does it mean? He doesn't open his mouth at the gate.
Mm-hmm. Because the flesh, right? The flesh is like, cannot, well, the flesh is shut down when the spirit is here.
It's a verse that seems, I forgot where it's at. I'm in my car, about from the heart a man speaketh.
Yeah, but what does it mean? He opens not his mouth at the gate. What does that mean?
No, Benny said doesn't cry out for wisdom.
Is that what it means?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Only
like that one.
it's talking about a fool. And look, it says wisdom is too high for a fool.
Yeah, it was no place for fools.
Yeah, the flesh.
All right, so why is wisdom too high for a fool?
Because if you're wise, you won't be the one talking so much. You'll keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, but
Okay, here's the scripture. The spirit is the willing, but the flesh is weak. Boom.
all right, so y'all let me know when you're ready.
How about the other scripture that says, "Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world"?
Yeah, listen, we're not asking.
Because wisdom comes from above.
Yeah, but so how do we know wisdom?
Up there.
How else does it show us that wisdom comes from above?
The natural man is earthly, cannot understand the things of God.
Y'all are killing me, Smalls.
Yo, that's the answer.
Does the man speak out of the fullness of
Yo,
the
that's
heart?
the
But if the heart is stony, then only
Yo,
stony
did we
things
play the
come out,
sound?
right?
Hold on. Hold on. Repeat that question again. Watch. Repeat that question again.
Which one? I've asked 2 or 3. And nobody's answering none of my questions.
The last one. How do you know the wisdom comes from above?
You're asking why the mouth don't open.
Try, can you ask the question one more time? I didn't hear it.
Well, there's a lot of questions that I've asked. All right. So we'll get to verse 24:6. I really thought 24:7. I thought somebody was going to get that right. Benny's the only one that got it right. But then I asked, is that what it means? And nobody really said anything. All right, so it says wisdom is too high for a fool. All right. Who's the first fool that we are shown in the Bible?
Adam.
No. Remove yourself from this panel, Christian. No, absolutely not.
Satan, guys. Satan.
All right.
Lucifer.
All right. So if Lucifer is the first fool in the Bible, what was a comment or the way of thinking that he said where we know this guy's, or I'm just going to say it, this guy's foolish? What did he say? And everybody knows it. Even atheists knows that he says this. What did he say that like messed everything up?
I'm going to be bigger than God.
Huh?
I'm going to be bigger than God.
Yeah, but what? There's a verse that he says something that it has to be quoted the way he says it in the verse. Nobody knows.
It's in Isaiah. I forgot. I'm in my car. So
Yeah.
I'm on my phone.
Nobody knows what he said.
Who said what? What?
It's in Isaiah. I forgot what
Lucifer said, all right, so Benny said it. He says, set my throne above the mountain of God. So if he's saying that he wants to put his throne or be positioned on or higher than the mountain of God, why is it mountain? Why is God on a mountain?
Power and authority. Symbolizing the power and authority.
Well, it symbolizes a position.
Right, above all.
Yeah, but it symbolizes a position. Authority is the rod and all those things. A throne is who is seated on that position. So if there was for instance, a throne on a mountain, the mountain is representing like a position. But whoever sits on that throne, they're the ones in charge of that position, right? So you have God on a mountain. The mountain is a position, and then you have the throne that God sits on, which means he is seated in that position. So Lucifer said that he wants to be above the mountain of God. So if he's saying that God is above, where is he putting himself? Anybody?
In the statement, or where is he trying to put himself?
No, if you're standing at the base of a mountain and you're looking up at the mountain, below. Where are you at?
Below.
You're below. So read 24/7 again.
Wisdom is too high for a fool.
All right, so you don't see wisdom is too high for a fool there when he says I want to be seated above his mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So the Bible doesn't just speak to us in words. There's a lot of picology or however the word. What's the word? How's it say it? Something like that.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
like a picture with ology at the end of it. Pictureology. I don't know how to say the word.
Yeah, sure, that works.
You just like that's cool that you said that, because day before yesterday, God was talking to me and he was saying that the mountain, him, is so big and immovable that it offends the fools. You know what I mean? The flesh, it offends. And you don't even want to look at that direction.
Yeah. So, all right. Django 725 typology. No, I'm not talking about a typology. There's another word, and I'm just not pronouncing it right. But it has the word picture in it, not typology. Even though there is typology in the Bible, there's another word for it, and it starts off with the word pick. Pictographic. That don't sound right either. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but it ain't typology. But I'm just saying the Bible doesn't just speak to us in just words. It shows pictures, a lot of pictures. It speaks to us that way too. What, Bill?
The pictogram. A pictogram?
No, don't try to figure it out. You're gonna give yourself a headache because I don't recall, and I don't want to waste 10 minutes trying to figure out what the word is. But I'm saying the Bible speaks to us in pictures. Okay, it ain't gonna mess nothing up to say it in that way. So, but the point is, you see God is sitting on a mountain, right? His authority of position in the seat on this mountain, and Satan says, Danette Roberts, imagery. Yeah, you could say imagery. Matter of fact, that might be the word I'm thinking about, imagery. Yeah. But he says that he wants to basically be, above the mountain of God. And so the whole Bible, all you have to do is just find where Satan is everywhere in the Bible, not to study him, to learn anything about him, just to learn where he's at in the Bible. Just learn where he's at. And then you start reading the Bible and you'll always see him in that kind of position. Always. Anytime it's talking about a fool or someone of wisdom, you'll always see him there. You'll just see it. You'll understand 100% what the Bible is talking about because you've already figured out where Jesus is everywhere in the Bible. You figured out where knucklehead is everywhere in the Bible. And then you start reading the Psalms and the Proverbs and you're like, oh, wow, everything is about this, all of it. Even though they were using the black letters on the white pages, they were using it to understand what was happening in their life at the moment. But there were people who was digging into it. If David would not have been meditating on it, there is no way he would have wrote down, for your rod and your staff comfort me. He would have never wrote that down, ever. It would have never happened. So Proverbs 24:7 says, wisdom is too high for a fool. So today in this world, someone that has the mindset of Satan, they're a foolish person. They don't believe that there's a God. And basically, they're going to be God. That's the same thing. It's saying the same thing. And then it says, and then when Jesus comes to the earth, it says that Satan takes Jesus to an exceedingly high mountain. He wants to show off his mountain now. He's got a mountain now. He didn't have one before. It's hilarious. All right, but it says, wisdom is too high for a fool. It says, he openeth not his mouth in the gate. Let me see. He openeth not his mouth at the gate. So what does that part mean?
You don't call God.
Huh?
That he doesn't call out. He has no reverence for God.
Yeah, but where are you getting that from? How is he opened his mouth at the gate? Where do you get that from in that sentence?
He doesn't submit, right? So he doesn't even call out to God or speak to God.
No, I'm saying in the sentence that talks about he doesn't open his mouth at the gate. Where in that sentence are you getting the idea that that's what that's saying? How are you using that sentence?
Because I'm looking at the gate as the high.
The gate what?
I'm looking at the gate as the high mountain.
Well, the gate can't be the high mountain. It's a gate. The word mountain is the mountain.
Okay, so this gate is not high.
Well, it doesn't matter whether the gate is high or low, but the gate itself is not the mountain, and the mountain is not the gate. Mm. So you can't say the mountain is the gate and the gate is the mountain.
Jesus is the gatekeeper.
Huh?
So Jesus being the gatekeeper.
I'm listening.
The gate wise men. Is the gate wise men?
Does anybody know does anybody remember or know what the gate is? 90% of the time with the
heart.
Jesus
the heart.
Christ is the gate.
Okay, that's close.
Heart of God.
Okay, well, the gate's not the heart, but that's close.
The heart of God.
It's not the heart.
Right,
The
so
Entry
eyes.
to the
keyboard, huh?
Sorry,
He's
everybody.
the gate himself.
Wisdom.
Hold it, man.
Well, none of y'all are wrong. You're just not giving the most correct answer.
Believing in him?
No. When I say it, y'all are going to be like, oh, yeah. Every one of y'all are going to do it. But I don't ever change. Every time I do this, I give the same answer. I don't ever change my answer. Ever.
Well, that word openeth means to let loose.
Yeah.
So
Oh, my
Isn't
God.
it the eye?
Jay Spazzin coming in with the win. Jay Spazzin coming in with the
God
win.
is the gate.
Jay Spazzin coming in with the answer.
When? Where?
Y'all see Jay Spazzin's comment?
He's not
door.
even born
Or-
A door is a gate. That's just another word for gate.
Okay. So but what is it? But what is it?
It's the mind.
Oh, my Lord. There ain't no verse that y'all can think. How about this? There ain't no verse that y'all can give me because y'all just saying words.
It'd be our ears because faith comes by hearing.
Oh my Lord, y'all killing
Okay,
me.
can I ask real quick? Is it saying that he can't see it because he doesn't see it in the spirit?
Well, again, look, there's 1,000 things that y'all are going to say that's
Okay.
tippy toeing around the answer. I'm looking for the most correct answer, and nobody said it. Nobody has said it. I'm sitting here telling you right now. So I've been listening, CJ. You have not said it. Nobody has said it. I've heard. If there was a sentence that answered this question, everybody's used one word in that sentence, which means you're not saying the entire answer. All right, so look, Jay Spazzin's giving y'all a hard time since y'all ain't. Look, he gave the answer right there.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, but that's
So
what he's the gate himself, isn't he?
Huh?
So the gate is the way up to the mountain. way through, right?
The gate is the door, and that is the door that Jesus is talking about when he says, I knock, but we have to open it. That's the entrance to God's heart because Christ is the door. Just like the ark, Noah's ark had one door. So that would be the gate. That door is the gate. The Noah's Ark rested on Mount Ararat, right? So was the gate on a mountain?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. Well, yes.
If Noah's Ark rested on a high mountain, now we don't see a gate on a mountain. We don't see a door on a mountain. We don't see that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the gate?
Because the ark has a
Jesus
door.
Christ.
The gate is the door. Christ is the door, but when you don't finish it and say with the door to the heart of God, then you're not saying anything. Everybody knows the verse that says that's proven that Jesus is the door. The door to what? To outer space? What's the door go to?
Heaven.
Heart, yeah.
God's heart.
Heart
Jennifer,
is
Lord have mercy.
Eden.
The garden.
Yeah, okay.
The heart is
Well, you
the
got to
garden.
say that. You got to say that. Nah, heck no. Y'all ain't on level one no more.
The swords that went every which way was Jesus Christ. He was the gate into
Yes.
Eden.
Yes. He's the gate. He's the way. He's the one. But we got to finish it. He's the gate to what? Like if I go through that gate, I'm going to end up in Baskin Robbins. Like what's the gate go to? Like what are we talking about here?
Bro.
Oh yeah, that just
Better not.
that's why. It's
right.
saying that he-
And Benny knows me well. He knows where I'm about to go, bro. Look what he brings up. Samson took the gate to the top of the mountain. Does anybody remember us talking about that? Anybody?
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It says that Samson takes the gate and the post of the city and he took it up to a mountain, which is the high place.
Yeah, he carried his cross.
Yeah, but that's not talking about carrying the cross. That's not what that's talking about. It's talking about what we are talking about right now, which is the gate, which is the door, and he puts it on a mountain. Why? Because a fool can't go there. That's why Samson took it up there. It was a shadow of all this stuff we're talking about. All right. Since y'all broke my heart with 24/7, let's go back to 24/6. All right, let's see. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war. What does that mean? By wise counsel thou shalt make thy war. What does that mean?
By Christ, Holy Spirit in us.
Yeah, but give it to me in layman's terms. Give it to me and dumb it down. Make it dumb. Gum.
Use the spirit to fight with.
Well, I mean, yes, that's true, but if I said dumb it down, make it dumb.
The spirit fights the flesh.
No, let's not use the word spirit. You keep using the word spirit. Look, to dumb it down would be we don't go to war unless wisdom tells us to. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't go to war. Yes. We don't go to war unless wisdom tells us to. All right. But hold on. Whoa. We're not, hold on. Let me finish going over it. Let me finish. We're not even halfway there yet. All right. So 24:6 says, for by wise counsel, that's talking about the counsel of God, right? Right? Hello.
Yes.
For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war. And it says, and in multitude of counselors there is safety. So there's better in numbers. So instead of going to war with just getting counsel from one person, you get counsel from 10 or 12 or 20. And the more you have agreeing on one side, you can make a better decision. Now, is this written in the New Testament or Old Testament?
Old.
Okay, so if it's Old Testament, then it's on that side of the cross, which means there's still a war. We are on this side of the cross. And that secret captain has already came out, right? We see David fighting Goliath. That was a shadow of something to come. And now the enemy has been defeated. Satan is a defeated foe. So the war is over. The war is over. If you want to talk about battles, that's all in your head. But that's not the war. The war has been over. The war has been won already. Right? So let's go to, I'll just go to one verse and you can start looking for other verses to help you understand this more if you don't. That her warfare is over. Someone find me the verse in the Old Testament. Tell Israel that her warfare is over. Let's see.
Isaiah 42.
Okay, did you proofread it? Hold on a second. Did you proofread that? I guess not.
It's the one that says speak comfortably to Israel.
Isaiah 40.
Okay. Christian, give the address so everybody can get where you're at. And if you have read it, then when everybody's ready, then you can read it. But don't just start reading it and you don't even have the address. Give us the address where you're at.
Isaiah 42 through 11.
All right. Isaiah 42, you said?
No, 40.
Okay, 40.
And then
Then he
2
says
through 11.
40, verse 1.
Hold on. Isaiah 40. All right, that's it. All right, so let's read Christian, read Isaiah 40, 1 through 3, I guess.
1 through 3.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Give me a second here. Okay, Isaiah 1 through 3 says, "Comfort, comfort, my people. Say your God." Oh, sorry. I don't want to use that version. I apologize. You're not going to like me reading that. Give me just 2 seconds.
What? No, don't let. It's not. I don't like it. I like every version. I have read them all. I have studied them all. I just prefer the King James because, in my personal opinion, through my many hours of studying both Greek and Hebrew, it's, to me, it seems closer. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. I'm no professor at a college. I don't know how to explain why I see that. But the King James version seems like more accurate with the Hebrew. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason is. There's people that don't like the King James version. And there's people that say things like, well, King James wrote many books. And he wrote, Christian books and satanic books. And he wrote all these books. You could say that. But what's funny is when I study the King James and I use the blue letter or Logos or the Strongs, for some reason, I don't know how to explain it. But the King James seems like, I don't know, like the words the translation is better, man. I don't know how to explain that. I don't want anyone to think, first of all, I don't know James Strong. He's not someone in my family. I'm not being biased to anybody else. I don't know anybody that wrote their own version of the Bible. Like, there is no reason for me personally to pick up a particular version and say, I like this one. I don't come from a specific denomination. I have visited many churches. I don't come from anything that would make me brainwash me to believe that this is better than that one. Nope. This is my personal study and led me to see this to be more accurate, man. Other than that, I don't know how to explain why. So after a while, I started noticing that I started picking up the King James more. And that happened naturally. It wasn't because someone was brainwashed. No one was telling me which one's better. None of that happened. Just after a couple of years, I just started using the King James, and I got me a parallel Bible that was King James and Amplified because I love the way the Amplified opens up the King James. I haven't found anything wrong with it so far. So, you don't have to, say, oh, I'm sorry. It's not that. It's just that's what I prefer to use. But on your own, you're not wrong to read any translation as long as you have a concordance with the Greek and Hebrew dictionary in it, because you're going to have to get an NIV, right? Strong's. You're going to have to get an NLT Strong's because the words are different. So you have to get a different Strong's. You can't take the the King James Bible, the King James version of the Strong's, and you have an NLT Bible. Some of the words are different. So you'll never be able to find those words in the King James because you're going to be looking for that specific word, and it's not in there. You're trying to use two different things there. So, Fair
enough.
Yeah. So on here, that's the reason that I use the KJV, because through my own studies, it just on its own in the natural course, it just led me to start using it more because it seemed more accurate. Again, I don't know how to explain that other than that, but that's what happened. So, all right, go ahead and, cross-threading. Thank you, Benny. All right, so give the address and read. Give the address what you're about to read and read it, please.
Isaiah 40, the number 40, full stop, 2 through 3.
Go ahead.
And it says, comfort ye, my people, saith your God. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her, that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. The voice of him that crieth in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God.
Okay, so verse 3 is talking about who?
That's
John the Baptist, right? It says the voice. It says the voice of him that crieth in the wilderness. That is John the Baptist. If you didn't know, now you know. That's what verse 3 is talking about. But before we get to verse 3, there's verse 2, and it says, "Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her, cry unto Jerusalem, that her warfare is accomplished." Somebody go look that word warfare up in the Hebrew. Who's looking it up? Let me know.
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay.
So it's H6635, and it's I don't know how to pronounce that word. Saba, I think. It says that which goes forth, army, warfare host, army host, or service.
Yeah. So you'll with that word right there, you're going to find the word army. There's even a word that like it originates from. I don't remember, but I remember studying this very well, bro. The word military is there, army, fighting. It does come back to war itself. It does come back also to a very like a specific timing or something like that, something to do with time. But that phrase, wartime is accomplished, that literally means war is over, guys. Her war is over. That's what that means, that phrase right there. So it says, "And cry unto her that her war is over, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins." What's the Lord's hand? What is that? Christ.
I was going to say Christ, but you said what is.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's your...
I don't want to say who. It'll give the answer away. So I don't use the word who. Say
Maybe
what.
You're tripping me up, Trot.
I know. Have to. All right. Because you either know the answer or you don't. So if I say who, then that means I'm leading the witness. Right? Y'all know what leading the witness is? You kind of say things in a very specific way on purpose so someone understands what you're saying and it looks like they're reading your mind. I don't want to, and don't get me wrong, we all do it on accident, but if you've been coming to D-Skilled long enough, that's the thing I try not to do. I don't want you to know what I'm saying. I want to ask the question, and you either know or you don't. And if you don't, then I know you don't, and we're going to go over it. So you don't no more miss it. Get it? All right, so it says, "Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her war is over." Verse 3 is talking about John the Baptist. Has John the Baptist already came? Hello. John the Baptist already come already?
No, not at this point.
Well, okay, I'm saying today. Today, if we're talking about John the Baptist.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So John the Baptist has already come. Jesus said, "What do you think that you were going to see? A reed shaking in the desert?" Right? Ain't that what he said?
Yes.
All right. So John the Baptist already came. 100 times we've already been over the purpose for John to baptize people in water had nothing to do with anything other that when John put this specific person in the water, that he would see the Spirit in the shape like a dove. So it wasn't in the shape of a dove. It was in the shape like one. It didn't look like a bird, but it was in the shape like a dove. It descended upon Jesus, and now he knew who the Messiah was, because that was the purpose of him baptizing all these people in water, right? Or do we need to go read it again?
And the remaineth part too, right, Trot?
What?
That because it's symbolizing that the spirit could remain in somebody, where in the Old Testament it could never remain.
Yeah, well,
It would only
again,
be there
I mean,
when
well, again, we can make a whole sermon about it, but the point I'm making is it was so he knew who the Messiah was, right? That's the whole point. Correct?
Yes,
All
that
right.
is correct, yeah.
All right. So and it talks about the hand, right? That the hand of the Lord, right, which was Christ. And we should know by now that when he said on the cross, "It is finished," it was talking about one thing, that the war is over, because he was the baby that was born in the manger when the angels told the man who watched over the flock, peace on earth. What is the opposite of peace? War. So he's the peace between God and man, and the battle, quote unquote, the war between good versus evil was over. Her warfare has been accomplished. The war is over. When he said it is finished on the cross, my friend, he's talking about the war. It's over. So if the war is over, people will say, well, it can't be because I still struggle with this. That's why we're going over spirit, soul, and body, so you can understand what is struggling. Because it ain't God. God ain't up there struggling. So the battle, right, over you between good and evil, the battle is all on you now at this point. But it's not about that you need to earn your salvation. It's not about that. That part's already been won. So the fact that you have a born again spirit, that's only because the secret captain, who is Jesus, won the war. If he wouldn't have won the war, you would not have a born again spirit. It would still be unalived. But he won the war. And because he won, he went and took the keys from Satan. Those keys are representing authority. He has no authority. He lost. It's over. So what we're trying to do is make sure people know this. That's what we're trying to do. Do you know 2 years after the Vietnam War, 2 years after the Vietnam War, they still found soldiers of Vietnam hiding in foxholes? Did y'all know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it's important. It's important to know that, and I'm gonna go over why. These guys, there was 2 or 3 that they found like in the same week or something. Y'all can go look this up. These guys still thought the war was going on 2 years later. Just ponder on that for a second. No one has relieved them of duty, because back then in that war, if you left your post before you were supposed to, they would, especially Vietnam soldiers, they'd execute your butt. You think these guys want to be executed? So 2 years later, the war's been over. If you don't understand what that means, there were no American vehicles, soldiers, nobody was there, bro. If you don't understand what I mean by over. It was over. So why the heck are these guys still in foxholes? They're there because no one told them the war was over. Makes sense? No one told them. If nobody tells you it's over, aren't you going to think it's still going on?
Yep.
Yes.
It's not hard.
Who lived in the jungle
And it happens. It happens today. It happens today. There are people that don't understand that the war is over. We won. And so because of that, they're over here trying to put themselves under the law, think that this war is still going on, and they are misunderstanding what they're reading. Therefore, think about the bondage that they're in. Think about these 2 men during the war. I'm sorry. After the war's been over for 2 years, think about these 2 men, how they felt when they said, hey, what are y'all still doing here? What do you mean? We're waiting for Americans. We're waiting for the enemy. He's like, enemy, bro? What are you talking about? Everybody's at the house eating cake. What are you talking about, enemy, bro? You don't see how freaked out they could have been? Then let me ask you this. Do you think they believed the people when they first saw them that the war is over?
No.
No, they didn't believe them, bro. Listen, they were lied to by China and everybody else that when we came over there, we were going to take it over. Everybody's so confused about that war. That war was nothing more than you walking in the street, you bump into somebody, and he's like, hey, bro, don't bump into me. You can't beat me up. And let's say one of them, let's say one guy has a shirt that says Vietnam, and the other one has a shirt that says America. And let's say America's the one that said, what do you mean it can't beat you up? Yeah, I can. And the Vietnam guy's like, no, you can't. Again, they're both representing a country, okay? And the American guy's like, I'll prove it. I'll just smack you right now. So America smacks him. He gets mad, tries to smack him back. But then 2 more Americans show up and start smacking him. So he does his little, and then here it comes. And before you know it, it's a big fight just because of pride. That's what it's all. I don't. If you don't understand the main reason why the battle happened, go read about it. You're obviously going to read some fake stuff, but if you just look at the entirety of what happened, it was really just pride. Really, that's all it really was. So China said, well, we're going to go over there and help you. China thought this was going to be an opportunity to take over America. I'm going to be honest with you. That's what they thought, that they were going to embarrass, that they were going to let the Americans keep coming and keep unaliving them. And then, eventually, there's going to be no more soldiers, and then China was going to try to take over America. I don't care what anybody says. That was a big move that China was trying to do. That's what they were hoping on doing. So the way that they made sure that America didn't take over Vietnam is they just kept sending Chinese people over there, Chinese soldiers, okay? Because eventually, if China would not have done that, we probably would have a little bit more, even though we do now. But we probably would have figured some other things out. I don't want to get into the details, but there have been some other things we would have figured out. But with all that being said, the point I'm getting is they were told by China that we were going to come and slaughter everybody, but it didn't take but months for women to they're seeing Americans all the time, bro. And again, they didn't have social media. But if we would have had TikTok or any kind of social media at that time, bro, the women that were there, hey, because first of all, right, no matter what kind of establishment, I don't care if it's a church, I don't care if it's Walmart, the military, you're going to have people who break the law. You're going to have people that commit crimes. So obviously there was war crimes. At war, there are going to be war crimes. Ask me how I know. Just ask me, please. Please ask me. I'm telling you, you'll see it. And you'll think to yourself, now how in the world did that happen? And you're there and you see this stuff and you're like, am I part of that? Why did that happen? Did that have to happen? But when you look at everything, you're like, okay, I understand why it happened. It's ugly. War is ugly, but stuff happens. And so there were some obviously ridiculous things that were happening at this war, but it's in every war. It's so funny to me. People act like World War I and World War II was, there was crazy things that happened. My great grandfather was in World War I. My grandfather was in World War II. So I have a lot of people in my family that went to war. So I didn't have to go. I chose to go. But what I'm pointing out, 2 things that I'm pointing out. One is the whole war was about pride. And they were told that America's going to come here and literally they're just going to take it over and unalive everybody. So fight for your life. So when these two guys, it's more than, by the way, let me say this. It was several people. I want to say somebody was there for 5 years until they found him. So if you don't, just go look this stuff up. But there's these 2 particular guys who were in a foxhole. They were there for 2 years. And man, the little trench that they built, I mean, bro, they had a system. They were unaliving animals to eat. I mean, they had a system going, these 2 guys. And
some people who were there for decades after.
Yeah, well, again, I don't want to get into all the story. Like I said, there's plenty of them. You can go look this up yourself. What I'm saying is there was a plenty that were there for years, plural. Okay, some 2, some 5. And finally, and a lot of these guys were deaf. And you go just read this stuff. A lot of these guys were deaf because of all the bombs. They could hardly hear anything. And so what they did is they just made sure they stood their post. That's what they did. And so when they came and told them, hey, the war is over, well, they didn't know because nobody told them. So to sit here and act like that's not possible with the word of God, I'm sitting here telling you it is, because that's what's happening today. No one can see, or they cannot discern or realize that the war is over. They don't understand. And then they're so scared they don't believe you. In America, when the slaves were set free legally on paper, do you know there were some slave owners that didn't tell them they were set free? Did y'all know that? Surely you did. But let me ask you, how come the slaves didn't know that their freedom was given to them? How come they didn't know?
Because nobody told them.
Nobody told them, bro. No one told them. I can just see a guy saying, hey, Jamal, come here. Hey, look, why them guys still working on that field? I don't know. Maybe nobody told them. Well, I'm going to go tell them. Hey, man, y'all are free. I'm going to tell you why I'm laughing after here in a minute. Hey, man, you're free. Hey, bro, you better get out of here. Don't be coming over here with that nonsense. Nah, bro, you're free. Let's go. We're all free. Do you know people used to play games like that back then? They used to try to get other guys to run with them, like just go somewhere. And they'd lie and say anything just to have another 2-3 men. You think this guy's like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to believe. You think that's easy to believe? Someone tells you that? No, it ain't easy to believe. It's not easy. And yeah, of course, we know that there were some guys that families that worked the fields, and they had good owners, if you want to use that word, and they liked it there and they wanted to stay. That's on them. I wouldn't have suggested it, but it is a fact that there are some people that they liked it and they stayed. Now, I don't know how long they stayed, but if you go study this deep enough, you will see that some of them actually just liked it. Now, how long they stayed, that's irrelevant, but they didn't leave right away. But the point is, there were some slave owners that 100% didn't say nothing. They didn't say nothing to them. And I don't know how long some of them were there, but they were there for a long time because nobody told them that the war was over. The war for your freedom has been won. The war is over. And today, Christianity is the same thing. The whole story of Christ, all of it. Your warfare has been accomplished. The war is over through Christ. It's over. But these people are still acting like they're in the Old Testament. They're still acting like that they're slaves of their dead spirit. They're still acting like that the bombs are coming. And if you ain't ready, those are bombs of God. And no one's telling people the war is over. Nobody's telling them. And so when you tell them, my friend, the war is over, you're the one that gets attacked. Because you're giving them a hope that if they step out into that hope and you're wrong, it'll be the end of them. You will be the reason they go to hell. You will be the reason that the slave master comes and throws grease on them and feathers. It's going to be you. It's your fault. So what do? They get mad at you because they think you're putting them in a bad spot. If I leave my foxhole and believe you that this war is over, I'm going to be executed as soon as I get back to the fob. It's not easy. That's why it's
to provide for myself.
Yeah, but that's why it's too good to be true news. It's too good to be true. For both of these cases that I'm giving. And especially for this one, because this one is talking about your soul. This one's not just you getting beat up, whipped, tar and feathered, even though that's obviously horrible. But the Bible makes it clear it'd be better to be scared of God who could take your soul than be scared of a physical man who can hurt your body or unalive your body. So what I'm saying is there's not enough Christians that know. There's not enough. But Your job is to be telling people that the war is over instead of allowing them to stay in bondage. So people who are under the law and try to put you under the law, they're basically telling you to go back to the slave master. They're basically telling you, go back in your foxhole. You have to fight. No, bro. No, it's rest now. We rest in him. There's no more physical sweating of the brow. None of this stuff is where we're at. The war is over. So since they think that when your physical body is tempted to sin, that's the whip, that's the bomb. They still see the bombs and the whip, and they don't understand it's nightmares. You're having nightmares, meaning it's not real. It's just your flesh still doing the thing, but it's not actual whips. It's not actual bombs that's coming. You have to start clearing your mind of these things, and it's not easy to do. You have a guy that comes back from war, and, of course, I have dreams and stuff like that all the time of things that happen. Did someone put PTSDs? I'm literally about to talk about that. Yeah. So, PTSD is real. There's times, you can ask my wife, it'll just be times that I'll just kind of get out of bed and walk around. It's just something that I've learned how to cope with some things, but I'll walk around or I'll just sit up, and she knows, and she's like, hey, everything okay? I don't know if one day she thinks I'll be like, hurry up, everybody get down. I mean, I don't know what she's thinking, maybe one day I'm going to do that. So she just kind of like, hey, everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm just sitting up, but I'm not going to wake her up and be like, babe, I had this dream, and there we were all there, but
there was a sunset.
Yeah, but there's two types of PTSD. You have car crashes. You have it doesn't matter, anything that brought some kind of traumatizing event. It's going to fall into the category of PTSD, and then you have war PTSD, and they're not the same. And I've been to many doctors. Like when I first started kind of going through that, I've been to many doctors, and every one of them said, hey, you have two types of PTSD. He goes, you got war PTSD, which is all by itself, and then everything else is in the category over here. There's two. So when people go, oh, well, you can have PTSD in car accident. You say that to a doctor that knows what he's talking about, he's going to tell you, no. In that category, PTSD, yes, but not war category. See, the difference between PTSD and a car wreck is most of the time a person has one accident. Now, are there people that have 2, 3, or 4? Yeah, I'm sure there is. Shelly, what'd you say? Misunderstood? Yes, just like prison. You're right. Prison is in the same category of car wrecks and all that. It's PTSD, but it's not war PTSD. They're two separate PTSD, right? So there's no type of PTSD that's in the same category with war. And the reason is, me personally, there were many instances, many firefights, not 1, not 4, not 20, many. And anytime you're going through something dramatic, right? And I'll use a car crash. Okay. So if someone, they're going to remember. Okay. So there's things that's going to bring you back to that incident, whether it's a smell, a noise. Let's say you were listening to, I don't know, the Rocky theme song, in your vehicle when you wrecked. That song can pretty much be ruined for that person the rest of their life, because anytime they hear that song, it's going to remind them of that car accident that they were in, a real bad one. I'm not talking about a fender. I'm talking about a rollover. You almost unalived. You're fighting for your life. It's a bad incident. If someone gets in a car accident and the road was real icy, man, every time there's ice, they don't even want to get on the road. Ice, I don't care if they're in their house looking outside and they see snow, it's going to remind them of that car accident. So, there's listen, all your 5 senses, what you see, smell, taste, right? People that's in a car accident where there's fire, a lot of them didn't just smell fuel. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel the heat. So let's say you're camping with family, and you put the fire on. A fire for the rest of your life could possibly bring you back to that car accident, and people can, nullly trigger. There's things that can trigger, right? The difference between all these other PTSDs, like people in prison, you had that one movie, one of the Fridays, where that guy's like, no more locked doors. He don't want to be around locked doors. He's got PTSD. All of them are together, and combat is all by itself. And the reason is because every time you go through a firefight or an incident, you have 3 smells, 3 noises, three everything regarding your 5 senses.
Book reading people.
You have 3 incidences of each sense. So that's what 15. So there's 15 things that can trigger you back to one firefight. But you've been through 20 or 30 firefights. Every one of them's different. Some of the firefights are at night. Some of them are during the day. Some of them is with a night vision. Some of them is without it. Some of them you're using this weapon. Other ones you're using a completely different weapon. In this firefight, you had these 4 guys around you, or maybe these 3. But in another one, it was a completely different. And each one of them guys remind you of a family member. Before you're done, there are people that, if they don't start dealing with this or coping with it, they can have a horrendous life, because everything triggers one of those firefights throughout the day. Everything. So, like I said, 15 things can trigger to one firefight. Well, you have 30. What's 15 times 30? So throughout the day, you got 400 things that can remind you of this firefight over here. Any one of them. So throughout the day, you're driving, and I don't want to, break them all down, but let's say you're driving and this one thing happens, whatever it is, and now that's where you're at. Now that's where you're at, and you're like, oh, shoot. And now that you're over there, you just automatically start thinking of 2 more firefights. You don't even need to be triggered anymore. That one trigger led you to... You can't even think straight, thinking about all this stuff. You go to a family's house and everybody's carrying guns because they're going to go to the range. And one of them has a very specific weapon that you had. And you're like, oh, and that reminds you of one of the firefighters. Well, guess what? Now that you got reminded of one, you're automatically 3 more. And out of those 3, one of them is going to remind you of another one. Why? Because there was the same guy there on this one. Now you're going to remember that guy that was in firefight number 7. But I'm pointing out that telling somebody the war is over is kind of like giving hope to someone that they don't want to no longer believe in hope. They don't just want to believe in hope anymore. They just want to believe that they can control it, right? That's why you see a lot of people putting themselves under the law. And what they see is there's a war. That's what they see. And you're in it, and you don't know you're in a war. You see how completely different? It's completely different. They think you're still in a war and you need to fight for your soul. No, you got to fight for your soul. They don't believe the war is over. They don't understand that now you're dealing with PTSD. It's not real. I had a buddy, he unalived himself several months after we got back, and he could not separate the real thing with the thoughts of the thing. He couldn't separate it. He kept thinking it was still real. And he would say stuff, and I'm like, bro, why'd you say that? He's like, what do you mean? You judging me? Like, no, bro, we're not over there anymore. Now, you're trying to help him understand. You're not. It doesn't mean that at times you kind of like sit back and you're like, there's plenty of times I'll wake up and I'll just start pulling security. My wife's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. And it just happened. For a second, you wake up and you're like, where am I at? And you're taught, if you're confused, just lay down and pull security. It's been drilled in you. So never, if a person who's focused anyway, never a person wakes up over there and just starts walking around when they get up. Bro, their eyes open and they slowly start looking around, to kind of gather themselves, hoping that they can put two and two together where they're at. Nobody's just going to get up and act like they're at their house. No, because if it's your turn to take a nap and it's, and you wake up and you just stand up and there just happens to be people, they know that you're out there somewhere, and you're out on you've been out for a week and you think you're back at the fob on a base or something. And you just wake up in the middle of the field, start brushing your teeth, but all y'all are out of there. So you're trained not to wake up like that. So to this day, I can't help it. Sometimes it happens. My eyes open, and before I do anything, I'm looking around real slow. And so we got a fish not too long ago, several months ago. But I tell you, I ain't gonna lie, I haven't told the missus that, but that fish, that light, that little fish light, it helps. You know why? Because out there was no fish light. That light does not remind me of nothing out there. The way it looks, look at the little fish in there. And I wake up, and she'll say, how come you didn't turn that light off, the fish light? And I don't tell her why, but that's why I leave it on, just in case, because I'll wake up and I'll do my thing and I'll look and I'll be like, it's 2025. I'm at home. It's all good. But it's your mind that you're trying to take care of your mind. Just like someone that has a dream, you don't control your dream. Before you go to sleep, you don't get to go, I want that dream right there. You don't do that. You just wake up and like, wow, that was weird. You don't get to control. You don't get to control your dream. So these people that are trying to put you under the law, everything's about the law, bro, they think the war is still going on. And if you don't do something about it, you're going to die. And we're trying to tell them, no, brother, sister, the war is over. What are you talking about? And they think that the things that your mind remembers, they think they're real. And they're not real. They're not real. And you have to start renewing your mind. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So now you have to start telling yourself the war is over. You're not fighting against Satan. He's a defeated foe. He's done. But this mind, this body of death, has PTSD. It has nightmares, and it will freak you out. If you don't know that the war is over, you'll still think that those thoughts and all those are real and they're really happening. No, they're not really happening. But it's something there that is reminding of you of a truth. At one point, it was 100% true that you were dead in your trespasses and sin. 100% true. But Christ said it's finished on the cross. And because of that, the war is over. That's why I go over spirit, soul, and body, so you can see. So you can see why your spirit is one thing, why your body is another, why the body is called the body of death. But telling people the war is over is not easy, right? So, all that because of Proverbs 24:6. All right, anybody got anything they want to say or add?
Oh. Yeah, amen to that. Brother, I also look at it as like the dead snake head still having venom. So you still got to walk carefully in the jungle, right? Don't want to step on the head because then you can feel the poison.
Yeah, that's true. But what's that got to do with the Bible?
Yeah, because, even though the Satan is defeated, don't be going around where his head is laying around to be poisoned.
his head's not laying around. It's abolished, like it's done. It's not there. So,
the dead body wrapping around your neck.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all fear and PTSD. That's not going to happen, right? So, what we say is, don't let the fear of what used to be true be real to you, because it's not true, right? Once you're born again, the war is over. Now, for people who are not born again, then the war is not over. The war is not over.
I was gonna say that's the war that people is fighting now, their own minds, just like the PTSD. Actual war of Satan, is over, but it's our carnal minds that we're battling.
That's it.
So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's it. And
beat that flesh.
Yeah, and so the flesh is dead. Do you have to work to defeat your flesh, Christian, or is it dead already?
It is dead already.
All right. So what we do is we try to teach the mind what we won. Not that you need to defeat it or you need to do. No. It's already dead. So now you don't believe the junk that it says. The thoughts and stuff, all the stuff that the flesh is claiming that it knows nothing, because the spirit that it was married to is unalived. But it's constantly trying to tell your soul, this is true. No, it's not true. What's true is what we have won because of Christ. We won a spirit that's alive. Our heart has been changed. You have a completely different heart. So anything that your mind is thinking about, it's not coming from your spirit. It's coming from memories of the old program that used to be in there. So when you start understanding this more, you will, I promise, your desire to set people free from this lie will grow. It will grow in you. You will be like a person who used to be a slave. You will be a person that is looking to see who is keeping captives in captivity. You will. You will, 100%. But you're not looking for the one that is holding people captive. Because now you know that all you have to do is tell the truth to the people in captivity. You're not looking for the one putting them in bondage. I'm looking for the people that are being lied to. I'm telling them the truth. The war is over. That's the goal. The goal is not looking for the master sensei. I'm not looking for them. But in the opposite, that's what they do, right? People who put you under the law or put themselves under the law, they go looking for the master. They go looking, I want to talk to the master. Tell the champion to come out. They make the same carnal mistake as Satan did, the same carnal mistake as Goliath did. They make the same mistake. Notice, they act just like their sensei. They go looking for the captain. When you do that, it'll be you that has the head chopped off again. They still don't learn. It's a mistake, and they don't know it. They don't see it as a mistake. They see it as a way. If they can beat the sensei master, all the white belts will follow me. It's foolish. We just talked about the fool. The fool doesn't take wisdom from the top of the mountain. They don't try to enter the gate. They just try to bring everybody with them. Same thing that Satan did, but Christ does it completely different. He doesn't go out trying to confront that one thing. Jesus didn't go out, all right, Satan, where are you at? Let's go. That's not what he did. He went and made disciples, and he started telling them the truth. Because of me, you're going to be set free. That's what he's telling them the whole time. Because of me, not because of you, because of me, because of me. That's all he's doing for 3 years. He's telling them, focus on me, focus on me. So a disciple of his is not going out looking for people that are putting others under the law. No. They're going to the ones that are being put under the law and telling them you've been freed already. Question. Tammy got a question. Tammy, what's the question?
It's a lovely sis. She says, so how does spiritual attack happen then? People blame spirits for waking them up, etc.
What are you talking about? I don't see that anywhere. What?
Yes, in the comments. So
does anybody else see that question? Where?
Yeah, it's back there.
Oh, it's back there. I'm looking. Okay. All right. Himalaya, hit me with it again. What?
She says, so how does spiritual attack happen then? People blame spirits for waking them up.
Yeah, I just explained that. It's in your head.
Right. Lies.
It's lies. It's PTSD. So I'll go over it again. Okay. I'll go over it again.
God bless you, brother. I want to say something. Before I was born again, when I was like sleeping, I had like those attacks. So I would say, maybe people that are not born again, or they don't believe in Jesus. That's why they get like those attacks and stuff. Because what the sister is saying is actually like, it happened to me.
Yeah.
Before I got so.
Yeah. So okay. So let's just talk about that. All right. The sleeping and you're waking up and you're like, like this weird stuff's happening. Look, again. Okay. I've been through war. I've seen it. It's bad. And, being woken up by a memory of that. Let me ask this question. When a memory of those things wake me out of my sleep, am I in war? Am I there? No. Okay. But doesn't it feel real? And if you don't know, I'll tell you, yes, it does. Okay. It feels like at times you're still there. It's already been 20 years. 20 years ago, those things happened. And I'll still see someone's head pop. If you don't know what that means, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. But I'll still see it. I'll see people's faces in dreams sometimes that became unalived because of me. And, they're not coming at me like, roar. I mean, it's nothing like that, but I'll see their face in a dream, like walking around and people's like, you're being tormented. No, I'm not being tormented because I have the peace of God in me. And I know how to. Now, does that mean that I'm not bothered about it at all? Like, oh, I'm just 100% healed. I don't even think about it anymore. Not me. Not me. Those thoughts come. Okay. I'm not going to go through all the details of it right now. So, if you're thinking that I'm just 100% better, no, it's not true. If we're speaking like in this world reality, right? There's always a temptation to, think, have certain thoughts and all these things. And I tell people all the time, it is okay to find someone that you can talk about these things with. It's okay. It's good. It's bad if you don't. There was times where I didn't. And you're going to have some bad days, man. I'll just put it that way. You're going to have some bad days if you don't talk about issues that's happening in your life. It is okay. Now, getting counseling, you can go too far with that. And then you can go too far with not getting enough. Just because you go, oh, I got a counselor I talk to once every 5 years. That's not a good answer, bro. Just to be honest with you, and my buddy who unalived himself, there's a few of them actually, but the one specific one that I'm talking about, he saw a counselor one time. He went to anger management one time. And he's like, man, I'm good. I was like, wow, really? It's been like 3 months. He's like, oh man, I got it. I got all of it right here in this book. I was like, huh, okay. And a few months later, he unalives himself. He's telling everybody he was good. Let me ask you, if he's telling everybody he's good, did he really think that he was good? Because I can answer that question. What do you ask y'all? Do you think that he thought he was good, or was he lying? Which one?
He was lying.
Well, this particular one wasn't lying.
He may have been convinced.
Yeah, there you go. He's been convinced that he's good. So I know this guy. He wasn't lying, but let me ask you, there are people that do. So there are people that they do lie and they say they're good. But I'm talking about this specific dude. He was being honest. He really thought, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. But he had a head knowledge of what they were telling him. But he didn't have it rooted in him. It wasn't rooted. He hasn't been doing these things that help you cope. He hasn't been doing them but 3 months, which means you're learning the stuff the first month. You're kind of getting better understanding the second month. And then the third month, he's like, oh, I got it. No, bro, all you did was learn it in a head knowledge. You didn't water it and allow it to become part of you. So he thought he was okay just because he went through this 90-day course. No, bro. No. Mm-mm. So, but anyway, he ended up unaliving himself. And, in the letter, he wrote, I thought things were better and all this. And I wish I could have talked to him again and try to figure out what the issue is, but I don't have to. I was there with them. I know I know, but he thought he was okay. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people, they think just because you go to some course for 90 days, they're like, okay, everything's better. No, everything's not better. If you're not careful, it's going to get worse real quick, because a lot of times you learn just enough to make yourself worse. Believe it or not. You know, a person who's very, what's the word? I don't want to say like I'll just say self-centered for now, right? But a very self-centered person, counseling or therapy, it can make them worse. You know, they'll take what the person is teaching them and they'll just use that to finish the course. So like if you tell someone, hey, it sounds like you have some irrational beliefs. Well, if they don't know what irrational beliefs are, they'll say, oh yeah, what irrational belief do I have? And they'll say the word should, because if you don't know, the word should is used wrong a lot, okay? It doesn't mean that the word should is wrong and you shouldn't use the word should. No, that's not what it means. It means that someone uses the word should and they believe a certain way how that word's supposed to be used. Like, for instance, if a man and a woman get married, should the woman cook? I'm asking all y'all. Should she?
She's a good cook.
Should. I want to cook.
All right. But see, look, there's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with the idea that the woman should cook if the woman believes in her heart, this is what I should do. At that point, there's nothing wrong with it because she believes that's what she should do. But if I sit down and ask her, why should you do it? If she goes, well, I'm giving you a very basic way, right? If she says, well, he works 60 hours a week. We do have a baby. Daycare is expensive. I tried working, but the truth is I only make $100 a month because the rest of my check goes to daycare. It don't matter if it's her check or his check. There's a certain amount of money that goes to daycare, and she said it's not worth $100 to work. So I chose to stay home because all that working is not benefiting us. But if he's going to work 60 hours, yeah, Trina, right. She says, I am choosing to cook for him. That way, when he comes home, he don't have to work another 2 hours on a meal. So I'll make sure it's ready when he gets. At that point, she's not doing anything wrong. If you flip it and she's the one that's making all the money and the guy goes, well, and let's flip it. It's the guy. And he's like, I don't know, making $100 is not worth it. So I feel, and I'm going to cook for her because I want to. That's a choice. That's a choice. And in any type of like economy, right? Everybody's helping each other make sure that this thing is working out, right? That the system is working. It's not fair to make the person, I don't care if it's the man or the woman, if they're the one that is working 60 hours a week, it's not okay, in my opinion, that you tell that person, hey, you cook when you get to the house. Man, that's a sad system. I'm sorry. Now, again, if both of them have jobs, now it's completely different now. If both of them have jobs and the guy gets home and he goes, you're the woman, you should cook. There's the problem right there. Should? She should? Why? Why should she be cooking? Why? Oh, well, she should because she's the woman. Now, there is a thinking error. That is a thinking error. So she should because she's a woman. Y'all both work 60 hours a week. And when y'all come home, y'all are both tired equally. I don't care if she's working at a desk and you're a firefighter, police officer, whatever. Y'all are both working. And because she's the woman, she should. I'm trying to point out what a thinking error is. That's a thinking error. So a person that is a narcissist, I'll use that word. That's even better. A narcissistic person that is receiving counseling, if they're a true narcissist, it will hurt them. the counseling will hurt them, because a narcissist will take anything and try to manipulate it in their benefit and somehow in life. So if you tell them, hey, should you, and I'm giving you the example that I just gave, should your wife be cooking? She should, because she's a woman. A narcissistic person will take that should and say, oh, okay, so should is a thinking error. If you ever use the word should in front of them, they'll make that a thinking error. That's what a narcissistic person would do. So if you say, well, let me see, hey, let's say it's the woman talking to this narcissistic man. And she's like, hey, look, I'm going to work 60 hours this week. You're going to be off this week. Can you, because he already knows that he can't tell her, well, you're the woman, you should be. So he'll learn, okay, I can't use it there, but they'll manipulate how to use it. So now the woman says, hey, you're going to be off all week because you got, leave, you're taking your leave. I'm going to be working all week. Can you cook this week? He's like, oh, well, I can't. What do you mean you can't? You're going to be here at the house. Oh, well, not really. Because what I should be doing while I'm off, I should be, and he'll like have these things that he should be doing. And if she disagrees with him, he's going to say, you should understand. So he's right that because he's doing all these things, this person, there should be some understanding there, but he's trying to use the word should now. It's like they try to figure out, how can I use the word should and not be wrong? Why? Because if I can get that person to believe that should is okay somewhere, then I can get her to believe that she should cook because, she's the woman, she should. A very weird hanging around people who are very narcissistic. It's not about learning things in life. It's just learning more how to manipulate people. Very scary. You find yourself around someone that you believe is very narcissistic. You should see a therapist. Okay. I'm being dead serious about that. You should do that. Okay. And then of course a narcissist will say, oh, you said the word should. Now remember, they're a narcissist. So they're going to make you believe that you can never say the word should, but they'll make you believe that they can use it all the time. It's crazy. You will feel like you are in the Twilight Zone. They have no self-awareness at all. None. They have none. It's crazy. They argue about everything. It is crazy. So why am I bringing up the whole narcissistic thing? Why am I going in that direction? Because there are people that have taken this narcissistic behavior and they bring it in the Bible. They do. They're very dogmatic about everything. Listen, if you don't understand when you're dealing with someone who is narcissistic, they do like to argue. I don't understand what's so hard about this. A person who is a true narcissist, they like to argue. They love it. They love it. They would love to sit there and just constantly go over the same thing, over and over and over, because that's what narcissists do. They love it. Or they'll be very dogmatic and not be fair. And I'm talking about where it matters, and they don't want to talk about nothing. They'll say, that my word stands, and I'm the man of the house, and my word is final, and don't even want to discuss anything with their wife. They don't discuss nothing. What I say goes 100%. Again, because it's all about manipulating things. So they do it with the Bible too. Usually it's the ones that argue a lot. You see people who like to argue a lot. It's because of narcissism. That's where that's coming in, man. Now, does that mean, again, if you think I'm talking about people that are, they'll say I'm contending for the faith. Not like that. You're not like that. Now, if you're using, if you're trying to, if you're using apologetics, okay? Apologetics is not about being a narcissist. It's just pointing to some truths and you're trying to help someone see something. But a narcissist will tell you that they're using apologetics. So you need to make sure that person is using apologetics and they're not just a narcissist and they just want to argue about everything. Because there are ways that you can have a debate or an argument without losing your mind and pulling out the machete, without calling people. I can't believe some of the stuff I hear on this app, the way they treat each other. People, you're a heretic. I mean, everybody's going to hell. If you don't believe the way I do, you're going to hell. Everybody's going to hell. And then they'll get mad if you say they're going to hell, but yet they literally just told you are. I mean, that is very narcissistic. It's crazy, man. So that's why you don't see me arguing and all that, because I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time where y'all are sitting there yelling and like a fool. I mean, just buffoons. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh man, it just blows my mind. All right. Anyhow, so Proverbs 24:7, right? It's talking about, it's pointing at this war. And what I did is I just went to where that matters the most, and that is in Isaiah 40:1-3. It literally is saying the war is over. And so I went over PTSD because of that, because I know what it's like to be tempted to think that something is real that's not real. And the temptation's there all the time. There's triggers. There's things that can trigger me all the time. And so, you have to start figuring out, what can I do to make it a little better? Because you're not going to fix it. It's not going to just be better. It's not going to happen. I'm never going to wake up one day, there's no more PTSD. Nope, not going to happen. Every day I have to figure out, okay, how do I deal with this today? How do I deal with this tomorrow? What do I got to do so, today is not as bad as yesterday? How can I make today just a little bit better? What can I do? And sometimes there's nothing you can do, man. You're just kind of slummed out and you're like, man, today's a hard one. It's something you're going to have to deal with. If you ever mistreated someone, let me give you an example. If you've ever mistreated a family member, a friend, oh man, I don't know why I didn't say this. Guys, I need like 20 people on the YouTube. Please, I need you to help me out. Please, 20 of you, I need you to go to YouTube and don't come back to TikTok. I need I need like 20 people that are going to stop coming to TikTok. You can come for a little bit and then maybe just put in the chat, hey, I'm going to the YouTube world. When you get to the YouTube world, don't say I'm here. Please don't do that. Just say something nice about Descaled in the comment or something. But I need a bunch of you to somebody still said here. Who is that? Meow. Of course, Meow. Of course you say here. Why don't you put something encouraging on there? Put an encouraging scripture on there, Meow. Can you do that?
Hey, that'd be like us coming up on the live and saying, here.
Yeah. I'm here, guys. Oh, I see you're here.
That's it. That's it. Just
yeah.
Here.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. But, all right. Hey, does anybody, Saba, did you have something else you wanted to say? Or does anybody have something to say?
No, brother. No, I just wanted to, just bring that up because I thought maybe those who are not unbelievers, they would think or they would see such a thing. But now, we as believers, born again believers, we know our authority. So I don't deal with these things anymore. So
yeah.
And again, I would say the more we think about those things, the more we give power, attention, to those kinds of things. So now that's why Jesus says, put your focus on me.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's what we're supposed to do. While he was here, he was constantly just pay attention to him. He's always trying to get them to focus back on him. That's what he was always doing. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. And then finally he says, hey, y'all saw the things that I did? Same things you will do. And greater things. That's what he tells them. Did you see all the things I did? Yeah. Same things you will do. And greater things you will do because I go to the Father. Greater things, he says. Not just the same things. Greater. Now, does that mean you're greater? No. That means because he's in you, you're not going to just do the things that he did. You'll do greater things. Why? Because he's in us. He makes it very clear that that's the reason, right? So nobody needs to feel that you're doing great things because of you, right? Now, there are going to be people that use that. A narcissist. Here, let me show you a narcissistic person. They know that we all, as believers, do greater things than Christ because he's in us. That's the reason. But what a narcissist will do is they'll do things like this. Oh, well, you know, that guy, he's all a believer. This will be a believer they're talking about. That guy, he's all about himself, or girl. They do it to both. They're all about themselves. And you're like, huh, how are they all about themselves? And they'll try to convince you how that person is all about themselves. And you're like, I recognize that smell. Let me go back in my archives to junior high. Let me go. And you play a scene and you'll see the cheerleader. I hung out with baseball players, football players, cheerleaders. And you'll see the one cheerleader talking bad about the other cheerleader. Again, I'm going back. Let me see. I was 14. Yeah, I don't think y'all should hang out with her no more. And I'm looking at myself. Don't hang out with her no more? Why not? Well, you know, and they just make something up. A complete lie. They're all about themselves. You know, they're not about the team spirit, you know. And then come to find out that girl just jealous about that girl the entire time. That's it. That's all it was. It had nothing. Girl didn't do nothing wrong. Matter of fact, she was confused on why some of the girls didn't like her. They were just jealous of her. So now we're freaking 35, 45, 50. And you hear a grown man or a woman saying, oh, you know, same thing, bro. I'm over here laughing like, bro, this stuff never ends. It don't matter where you go. They still haven't learned not to be like that. And yet and we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team, but they're like, hey, you just need to stay away from that one over there. Oh, and they act like they got good reasons too. And they're lying. They don't have no good reason. They know they just can't say, well, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of that person. They know they can't say that. So it took me a while to figure out, like, why are these people saying, oh my God, we're still in high school. We're still dealing with the same old stuff. So, you know, if you yourself, if you can't notice that, then, you know, that's just kind of on you. But at this point, you should be able to say, what is that? That smells and sounds and sees, you know, you should be able to use your 5 senses of this world and say, that reminds me, it should take you back to something. Oh, man, that attitude reminds me. What is that? And if you can't see it, I don't know what else to tell you, but you should be able to see it. And I know it ain't fun to call those people out, right? Because we're all in the same, you know, it's not fun to say, hey, can you stop that? But I tell you, the one thing you won't be wrong about is if you know that someone is just straight up hating on another believer, my friend, stand up for yourself and that believer and say, hey, I know you have a childish personal agenda about, and let me tell you something. Usually they don't know each other if you don't know. Most of the time, 90% of the time, when a believer is talking about another believer, they don't even know him. They do not even know him. And they'll lie and say, oh, yeah, I know him. And what kind of way? What kind of way do you know him? They will bring up a 30-second conversation. How is that you knowing the person? How they don't even know them. Man, hundreds of times that I've seen this in junior high, they don't even know each other. Not even a little bit. So, but that's what a narcissist will do. That's what they'll do. So, all right, has anybody got anything? We're going to start going over. I'm just going to start kind of where I was yesterday on spirit, soul, and bodies. Anybody got anything before we hop in?
Yes, brother. I had a question, but it's about 2 Kings. I haven't read the book of Kings at all. I had like highlighted some, you know, obviously chapters before when I got saved. Like I just read, you know, not going through it. But like I had someone coming up on the live and they had this question. Of course, I know in the Old Testament a lot of bad things, you know, has happened and it wasn't God. So that was my answer to this person. So it was 2 Kings, chapter 6, from verse 26 onwards. I think 30. Yeah, 26, 30 to 30.
Okay. What about it?
That they're. So this brother, he said that they're eating their children And I didn't have the full story about it. So I just answered that it wasn't God. And it was just, we can't blame God. So it was back then, these things in the Old Testament happened. So that was my answer to his question. Because he said, like, these people are eating their children. What would they do that? So
yeah. So we've been over this man. I feel like I've talked about this almost, I don't know, every
Second Kings.
Yeah, the where you're talking. Yeah, that the story you're talking about. I want to say I've probably talked about it at least once every 4 months. Like this gets brought up at least once every 4 months or so. You don't recall me talking about it at all?
No.
No. Okay. I'll tell you what. This is what we'll do. Do what?
I mean, if we want to continue like with the spirit, soul.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Matter of fact, we can go over this a little bit. And what I'll do is, next time we come on, you never know. I might have a frequent Friday or I may have a descaling session Saturday. But next time I come on, plus I've been reminding myself to talk about spirit, soul, and body at the beginning, right? That way people don't have to fast forward too much. So what we can do is we can talk about 2 Kings 6 a little bit. I don't have to do spirit, soul, and spirit, soul, and body. Yeah, spirit, soul, and body today. We can just pick back up on it next time we come on. I don't know if it's going to be today, this weekend at all. I'm not sure. But if it has to wait till Monday, that's fine, because I think we would have been done Wednesday or Thursday anyway of next week. So even if we do spirit, soul, and body for one more week, we'll be fine, because we have about, 5 more maybe. It's about a week's worth. I can stretch it out to 10, but I think we've been on it for. I'm telling you, I pushed this sucker out as far as I could. So yeah. So Saba, if you want, you can read. You can read 2 Kings 6, 24 through 31. If you want to, and then we can just talk about it. It's no big deal.
Okay. So mine is New King James, so I will say that.
That's close enough. I don't have a problem with that one or King James. It's not much different.
Right. So it says, and it happened after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his army and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria. And indeed, they besieged it until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and 1/4 of cap of dove droppings for 5 shekels of silver. Then as the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried out to him, saying, "Help, my lord, O king." And he said, "If the Lord does not help you, where can I find help for you? From the threshing floor or from the winepress?" Then the king said to her, "What is troubling you?" And she answered, "This woman said to me, 'Give your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow.' So we boiled my son and ate him. And I said to her on the next day, 'Give your son, that we may eat him.' But she hidden her son. Now it happened, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he tore his clothes, and as he passed by on the wall, the people looked, and there underneath he had sackcloth on his body. Then he said, God do so to me and more also, if the head of Elisha the son of Shaphat remains on him today.
And
All right.
My notes on this drop too.
Yeah, no. If you have Christian, if you have notes on this, go ahead and go over them.
Wait, really? Me?
Yeah, you took notes last time we talked about this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and go over your notes, and we'll we'll break the notes down.
I do have the verse of when this was prophesied in Deuteronomy.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and go over that. And does anybody have the reason that he said this about Elisha? Does anybody remember? I want to go over that first. Did anybody write down why he said this about the prophet?
Yeah, because Elisha led the, I want to say, Syrians into Samaria.
All right. So, yeah, that's the reason. So, Saba, you didn't hear us go over this. Matter of fact, I guarantee you.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. So whenever we get off this, Saba, go to YouTube, and it should be titled 2 Kings 6 or something like that. What is the title, Christian?
It's 2 Kings. It's 2. It says the number 2 Kings 6, 7, 8, and 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. So going over this without going over chapter 7 and 8, it doesn't help. It all plays a part, but we don't have to. We don't have to go over all of that right now, Saba. Just go find that and listen to it, okay? But we're still going to go over the main points so you can at least like have an understanding of why this king said what he said. But yeah, Breezy, if you want to read Deuteronomy, you can go ahead and read that.
Okay, it's in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Of course, most people know that these are the curses and blessings. But in Deuteronomy 28, verse 53, it says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord God has given thee in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee. And then going back to the top, actually, where this started, this is, if you start in verse 15 of Deuteronomy 28, it says, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of thy Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command these today, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Just kind of giving a gist of why this.
Yeah. No, it's important to talk about Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy brings up a lot of stuff that happens in the Old Testament. But the main part, first of all, the blessings and curses, that's a given. Let me ask you this, or I'm asking everybody, why? What is this? What is this? The blessings and curses. What is that? What's the reason for the blessings and curses? Because it says these blessings and curses. Read the verse that kind of goes over that. It should be like 1 or 2 verses long. Breezy.
Yeah. I'll just start in the first verse right there. It says, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord God will set thee on a high above all nations of the earth. This is talking about the blessings. And if you go to verse 15, it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto thy voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses will come upon thee.
Right. Okay. So when people put themselves under the law, or they try to put you under the law, this is what they're doing right here. They say if you don't obey all of his commandments, then his curses are going to come upon you, because they still think that we're under the demand of the law. Because the Bible says it, so they think the whole Bible was given to them, and they're supposed to do everything the Bible says. They don't understand the covenants. They could care less. If you try to go over the covenants, they just add them all together anyway. What they're telling you is, I don't care what you're saying. You need to obey his laws. They don't care. They don't care your viewpoint, how you look at it, because they're still under the impression that the war is still on. They don't believe the war is over. And if you tell them the war is over, they're going to start bringing up sin. They're like, people still sin. Oh, look, people still going to prison. Oh, people still do bad. It's like, what does that got to do? What does that got to do with our flesh being dead, bro? What does that have to do? It has everything to do with it. I'm telling you, the veil is there. They are completely blind. They think you have been lied to. The war is still going on. Now, they know how to pass a test. If you give them a sheet of paper, are you righteous through Christ? Yes. They know how to pass the test, so they'll confuse you because they'll answer all these questions that they can't run from because they're still trying to put you under the law. It doesn't matter. Anything you bring up does not matter to them. You still got to obey the law. They don't care about any prophecy. They could care less. They'll just agree, yep, the prophecies happened. Yep, you're righteous through Christ. Yep, but you still got to be righteous. And they will go to Jesus's words every time and tell you must be righteous like he's righteous. Be holy like he is holy. Still thinking that like Christ is still walking the earth and he's talking to you. No, they don't care what you have to say. They don't believe Paul. They don't believe Paul was sent by Jesus, but yet they'll tell you, oh yeah, but they don't believe it. Because they don't take any commands from Paul. They take the commands from the general himself. And Jesus said he will be sent to the Gentiles. He will. And they're like, yep, that's what he said. He was sent. But let's talk about what Jesus said. Yep, he was sent. But let's talk about what Jesus said. You're like, bro, Jesus sent Paul so we can listen to Paul. So Paul overrides Jesus? Oh, man, I'm telling you, you'll never get a word in. They don't care. They don't care. No. When you are talking to someone who does not believe the war is over, you need to know they don't believe it. So what should you be doing? You need to be telling them, hey, I don't know if someone, imagine if those guys that I was talking about in Vietnam, imagine if the people that found them said, hey, we just want to let you know the war's not over. Stay here. Do you think they'd be wrong for telling them, oh, hey, the war's not over. Stay right there in the foxhole? Would they be wrong?
Yes.
Bro, that's what these people want you to tell them. Hey, make sure you oil your gun tonight. Okay. The war's not over. They can come at any minute. And they're like, yeah, brother, high five. Pow. Come back and check on me in a year. That's what they think's happening, bro. No, bro. Everybody's at their house eating bonbons. Everybody's going to Baskin Robbins every weekend. There's no war, bro. And
oh, foolish Galatians.
Oh, foolish, but they want to get out of their foxhole, run to the town and say, what are y'all doing? The Americans are going to be here any minute. Get in the foxhole. You're like, bro, the heck out of here, bro. The war's over. The Americans won. Now, don't say that. That makes some Vietnamese people wrong. They didn't win. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. Well, what happened there?
Did we win?
Well, okay. So first of all, again, the war was all pride. So from the get-go, both lost. Everybody lost, dude.
Right.
Going to war for pride? What? People go to war because they're trying to defend something. Now, when you get to the nitty-gritty, there was something that was being defended by America. I'm not going to get into that. If you don't know what that is, I don't care. That's on you. But overall, it doesn't matter. It was still pride. And it did, there was a few things that was proven there. And I'm never going to talk about with one of the things that America was trying to prove. If you don't know what that is, I don't know what else to tell you. People think that everything that happens in war is going to be broadcasted on newspapers. It's so funny. I've been there. And when the news said, the war in Iraq, I'm like, that's funny. I've been here for months. It looks like the war just started. I'm like, been here for a minute. There's a lot of chaotic things that has already happened. But America thinks the war just started. And I'm like, I've been here for a long time. The war didn't just start. And they just kind of show the people what they want them to see, da-da-da. And I'm like, what about that? What about what I'm looking at right now? Like I'm looking at something right now that ain't on the news. How come that's not on the news? And we're talking in the early 2000s now. If they're able to keep things away from the people in the early 2000s, how much easier was it in the time of the Vietnam War? How much easier? So much easier. So people go to the history books. They're like, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. Let me go to the history books. And I'm like, I was like, wow, just it blows me away. I'm like, so you think everything that happened in the Vietnam War is in the history book? Let me see your history book. And you look at it, 20 pages. You're telling me that all them years that we were over there in Vietnam is summed up in 20 pages you have in front of your face. That's how you know when people have truly went into this delusional state that they just believe everything. No offense to anybody. And I mean this, no offense. But if you really thought that Donald Trump was not going to win this election, I need to have a talk with you. What made you believe that he wasn't going to win? I mean, it boggles my mind. Listen, he was going to win. I give you 1,000 reasons why that he was going to win. And it ain't because he's the Antichrist. Oh my God, for God's sakes. I hear that again. People trouble me. You really do. I'm not going to talk about the Antichrist, but let me ask this. Let me see how many people are correctly clicking with what's going on. Matter of fact, somebody show me, Breezy, any of you, I don't care who it is. Show me a verse that describes the Antichrist. Does anybody have one? I'm going to go over this quick. Saba, we'll get to, since we're digressing a little bit, we'll get back to 2 Kings in a second. I need someone to show me what verse in the Bible talks about like a description of the Antichrist. Can anybody find it? There's enough in there, but I just want to see if someone can find one. A description. Huh?
Orange.
That's not my focus, sir. So no.
Okay, other than CJ, whoever wants to play, we're going to play a little game. Can anyone find a description of the Antichrist?
Yeah, it's 1 John 4, 2.
All right, read it. Read it, Himalaya.
By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has not come in the flesh is from God. And every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you heard was coming and now is in the world already.
Okay, so that's the spirit. I said a description of the Antichrist. I'm not talking about that. A description. It's describing him. Anybody have one?
13, I believe.
Hold on. Hulk, say it more clear and louder. I can't hear you.
Revelation 13.
All right, go ahead, read it.
I'm getting my Bible on. Let's get back to my phone.
When you say description, you mean something like he does?
Listen, if whoever you are, if you don't know what the word description means, go look up the word description in the Webster's dictionary, and that's what I'm asking. I want a description. I want him to be described.
Isn't that 2 Thessalonians chapter?
I don't know. Let's see. Read it. Let's see. Let's find out together.
Chapter 2. Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay.
Read it.
Then maybe you have a better version.
Just read it.
Okay. Who opposes?
I'm gonna start it.
Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead, Himalaya. Go ahead.
Okay. It says, who opposes and exalts himself against every so-called God or object of worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God.
Okay, that's one. You have to proclaim yourself to be God, right? All right, so I need some I need some more descriptive characteristics of this thing. That's not helping nobody. I need something better. Somebody said, oh, that's amazing. Amazing said Isaiah 14. Who said I got one?
I need to look where the verse is, though. Hold on.
All right,
read Isaiah 14.
Somebody go to Isaiah 14.
Got it right here. It says.
All right, hold on. Give the scripture, because people are saying they're not hearing scripture. So before you read, give the address where you're at.
Okay, I'm at Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 through 14. And it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into the heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
Well, that, I mean, kinda, but I'm there is something that I'm looking for, and I still ain't seen it. All right, so hold on. Time out. Notice the type of scriptures that have been read. So watch how I ask this question. Let me see how y'all answer it. Describe to me how you know when someone is a believer. How do you know when someone's a believer?
The Spirit of Christ.
That doesn't answer my question.
Oh, well, they're good.
Confess with their mouth.
No, that's not answering my question.
What's that? 1 John 4.
Oh, they're fruits.
Fruit.
I don't know. Is that how you know? Is that how you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, their love.
Love.
Oh, their love. Okay. So their love. How do we know that's
a fruit, bro?
How do we know that's the answer though? How do we know?
Because we know that.
It tells us in the Bible.
By their fruits.
Because we have the Spirit ourselves. That's why we can test.
Look, I'm gonna be very clear. I've asked, what's the description, characteristics of an antichrist? I said, what is the description, the characteristics of antichrist? I asked for a description, characteristics of a believer, and we're all over the place. How come it's not easy to answer this?
Yeah. Can I read John 8:44 real quick, Brother Hulk?
Go ahead. Reading it for what reason?
Maybe this one, does the comparison between the two. You are of your father, the devil. Your will is to do father's desire. He was a murderer. So I guess they're not, the believer is not a...
All right, let me ask a better question. If you were walking around in this earth, what would help you point and say, that's the Antichrist? If you were walking around in this earth, what would make it easy for you to say, that's the Antichrist right there?
Like physically.
Christ's always been here. There's a lot of Antichrist.
Yeah, physically. If you're here in this world, here in this world.
Look, I got Revelation 13:11. Look here, I'm going to start reading. And behold, another beast coming up out of the earth with horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. And he caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly one was healed.
All right. All right. Look, hold on a second. Prisca.
Well, that's not it.
Hold on a second. Prisca said, hold on a second. Am I lagging? CJ, can you not hear me talk or what? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you just
all right. Prisca says, I said, how would you know if you were on this earth if someone was the Antichrist? Prisca said, if someone made a peace treaty with Israel. Prisca, no offense. There has been lots of people that made peace treaties with Israel. A lot of them. So I don't know how that's the answer. Absolutely not. That's not how you're going to know.
Got more, man.
Someone who is against Christ.
Be pride against Christ. No, of their self.
All right. But what I'm showing is what I'm showing y'all is y'all have no idea. That's what I'm proving. Y'all are hopping from this scripture to this scripture, from this scripture. Watch this. Watch how we're going to talk about the Bible in its entirety. Watch this. Watch, I'm going to show you something. There's nothing wrong with scripture, but to understand what scripture is telling you is how you know. It's understanding scripture, not one verse, not one book over here. You take the entire thing and you ask yourself, how does someone supposed to know who or what the Antichrist is? Doesn't in the book of, or better yet, in the Gospels, doesn't it say that the Antichrist is already here? In the Gospels, doesn't it say that?
Yes.
Now, how in the heck is that Donald Trump?
Yes.
How is that Donald Trump if the Antichrist is already here?
Not. It's not.
It's not.
I could do this all day long. Look. Watch this. When the Bible says to look out for false sheep, false prophets. Let me ask you this. Do you think the Antichrist would be a false prophet?
Many false prophets. No.
He wouldn't be a false prophet?
Of course.
Will be
He would.
false prophet.
All right, how is a false prophet described?
If he prophesies something.
No. Verse. No, want a verse. Verse. How is a false prophet described?
Let me finish the thing on the Antichrist thing.
I need a verse.
Matthew chapter 24. This is Christ speaking, verse 4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Okay, but I need how this person is going to act. I don't need that he's going to deceive many. I can point that at any human. He's deceiving. How is a false prophet acting?
Lie.
Huh?
He's going to lie.
Come with another gospel.
All right. Okay. So notice what y'all are naming. He's going to come with another gospel. Let me ask you this. Let me show you how y'all are 100% not just saying the thing that would make this very simple. Look, watch this. If someone comes as a wolf wrapped in sheep's clothing, what does that mean?
They're acting like a Savior, acting like Christian, but they're not. Deceptive.
No, we can't say they're acting like a Christian. No. Can't say that.
It means their inner man is a wolf.
Okay, so their inner man is a wolf. Hold on. If their inner man is a wolf, their outer man is going to look like what?
Sheep.
Okay, describe to me what that means. What is a sheep? So let's talk about where Jesus says, my sheep know me, right? They know my voice. They know me. What is that sheep? Describe to me that sheep. What is that?
Believer.
Okay, a believer. Keep describing the believer. What is this?
Children of God, a believer.
What else? That's as good as y'all can do. A children of God. You can't do better than that.
Shows love.
Shows love.
Someone who reads scripture.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is a sheep nice or not nice?
Nice.
Yeah, so sheep.
Okay, so can we get kindergarten on this? I need nice words. How is this person going to look?
Joyful, happy, kind, peaceful.
All right, let's be honest. Does Trump look like that?
No.
No. Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Does he act like that at all, bro? No. This is so easy, bro. Listen, when someone says they don't like Trump, what do they say?
They don't like his
Stern, what he says.
Bro, how in the world is he acting like a sheep then? This is bananas. He is rude all the time, bro. Okay, so let me ask you this. When it talks about the Antichrist, does it say he's going to be rude and he's going to tell people you're fired? Is that how the Antichrist is going to act?
No.
So hold on. So what they're doing is they're like, there's no way he's a Christian. Why not? The fruits of the Spirit, blah, and they're doing all this. And I'm like, that's funny. That's funny. So then who is he? He's the Antichrist. Oh, so the Antichrist is going to be rude to everybody? Where's bananas? This is so bananas, bro. What they're doing is they're saying, well, he can't be a Christian. This guy can't be a Christian because he acts like this. Bro, the Bible says,
Unknown caller.
Hello,
this is Anne from Care Fertility. Is this Troy?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Troy. I'm calling to do your new male patient intake if you have some time right now.
Yeah, how long do you think that might take?
I would say about 15, 20 minutes max.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, what do you need from me at the moment?
So I'm just going to go over your medical history that you turned in to me.